was their contact with you about coming on board as the CEO?
It started a couple of months ago, as you all know, that the legal proceedings carried on much longer than I think anybody anticipated, but things could have changed hands prior to the end of the year, around the November-December period, and that's sort of when this all started, and I think that's when Bob and I first met.
Okay.
Yep.
So they call you?
As a matter of fact, they did, yes.
Well, that raises the question, who is that? Who's your boss? who do you, at this point in time, when you pick up the phone, the answer to is security?
There are a couple of people, quite
Okay.
frankly. And I think the boss will ultimately be the board.
Sure.
And we're focused now on building that board. So there are a couple of the lenders and part of that strategic team that we talk with. It doesn't feel like a boss right now, to be honest with you. Bob and I and a group of them talk every day, several times a day, and sort of discuss strategy and executing that strategy. But ultimately, the board will be the boss. And the board will not be made up of all the lenders. The board will be made up of local, influential business people, possibly academics, maybe possibly reaching outside of the region for a couple of areas to round it out. But that's what sort of our goal is for the board.
And who would be considered the leading lender right now, and the people with whom you've been speaking from the lender's perspective?
I don't think I want to get into that right now. So because I think it's evolved over a
Randy
period of
Smith?
time. Pardon me?
Randy Smith?
It's evolved.
Bob, may I impose on you to some questions about Greg and what he brings to the table from your perspective as COO?
He brings a lot to the table, a lot of skills and expertise and background and thoughts that I don't have. We complement each other. The most interesting part was when I first met Greg back in November. I was given a capsule view of what his thoughts were for the plan of the two newspapers and the website, and also the first 90 days and everything else like that, just as a brain dump from him. I also had my own brain dump, which I gave the people I was talking to at the time as a consultant. We sat down over breakfast, and I said, I read it, I thought it was really interesting. I said, you want to read mine? I gave him mine, and it was like almost identical. So I thought we're on the same wavelength about the future, because we both believe strongly that newspapers and the website have a strong future as content providers and as advertising vehicles. So that's what we're going to be really striving towards in the future. So when they locked Greg up, I thought that was a perfect combination, which obviously at that time I was a consultant, and made it very easy for me to say I would like to come back full time to work for the papers, because I was enjoying reading that. But it's pretty exciting with Greg and what we're going to do.
His handicap's gone down, so. We're going to try to get it back up again.
Thank you, folks.
One more.
We have one more.
Patrick Walters with the AP. Tell me a little bit about, obviously you're going to have to face a lot of cost cutting, that much has been made clear. What different areas, you're going to look at all areas, I'm sure, but what different areas do you think you're going to really need to take a look at?
We haven't identified any specific areas. I think there's general recognition with all the local media companies that cost considerations are very important. Let me just turn it around a little bit. My training and background doesn't come from a cost-cutting financial side. It comes from a build side, sales and marketing background, business development. So we're going to put in place a strategic plan on building the top line, and then being very conscious of the bottom line. There are going to be sort of three pillars that we're looking at, or three-legged stool, however you want to refer to it. And one is focusing on, it's a long-winded answer, but allow me to do this. In terms of the content side, whether it's the newspapers or the digital side, it will be focused on relevancy. And what I mean by relevancy is the desire to become a must-read. So regardless of the brand, I want those entities to become a must-read. There's simply too much, I think, in all general media aggregation and content that's available anywhere else because it's been done for cost-cutting reasons. Therefore, you start to lose audience, therefore you end up cutting more costs. It's a vicious cycle that unfortunately has happened in a lot of places. So I'm not gonna start with the cost-cutting mentality, I'm gonna start on the growth side. And then that evolves into, I think, innovation. So when you start thinking about innovation and stimulating and rewarding people for innovation across your company, that innovation could take place in the plant, it could take place in the newsroom, it could take place in the circulation department, but it can certainly take place in the digital side of things. But there will be a culture of rewarding innovation and lots of recognition and hopefully some financial awards for people for that. So if you do those right and manage the bottom line while you're doing that, the third sort of leg of this will be profitability. You can't get away from it. You shouldn't be shy about talking about it. You should address what are your margins. Our margins are not where they need to be, I think, competitively for other city papers and city regional or major regional media companies, and we have to address that. But I think you have to start, rather than going in for cutting, you have to start strategically, what are you trying to achieve, and then we'll try to get there efficiently. So, will there be some cooperation and potential concessions? Yes, and we're all on record saying that. But that's not the first thing we're going to look at. It's going to be how do we achieve that while we're building. So, hope that answers your question. Anyone else? Well, thanks very much for coming by, and I'm really excited about getting to know all of you.